Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. So very happy to be with you today. I'll give you all a moment to join. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for getting up today and for tuning in. For those of you who are tuning in live, I thank you for being with me in this moment. For those who will listen to or watch the broadcast later, thank you for tuning in. Today, I was just thinking, what do I want to talk about? And I, as I was getting up this morning, I usually wake up in the 6 o'clock hour and they have alarms that remind me gently to get up. And I kept pushing the button saying, oh, just 15 more minutes. I just want a few more minutes. I had a very busy weekend that included travel and um, saying goodbye to a loved one and going to a beautiful uh, funeral celebration, transition celebration. It took a lot of energy. Most things take a lot of energy, but it was a lot of emotional energy, then traveling energy, and just being with all that was happening. And so this morning, I didn't feel like getting up. I wanted to just turn over and pull the covers up over my head and go back to sleep. And I did for a few extra minutes. And then I remembered that I have this engagement, this weekly engagement with you, and I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss this moment that we fellowship together and inspire one another. And so, as tempting as those covers were to just pull up over my head and not come out of my room, I instead pulled the covers off and got up so that I could be here with you. And as I was contemplating what would be a great message for all of us today, I just kept thinking about the word discipline. That in order to get to the point where you can manifest your dreams, that you can make things that are sitting in your heart and soul manifest, you have to be disciplined. You have to put one foot in front of the other over and over and over again. You have to do the work even when you don't feel like doing the work. And as I thought about that, I said, wow, this is what I want to talk about today. So it is make discipline a daily priority. A daily priority, not a sometimes priority, but a daily priority. And what happens when you do that? When you make discipline a daily priority? There's so many things to think about with that word. It's kind of a charged word. I I think when as a child, the in school, if you did something wrong, you were going to be disciplined. It was a verb. It was used as a verb. I remember from my father's time with him saying when they were disciplined, they would often get whacked on the butt with a ruler. Corporal punishment is not allowed now, thank goodness, in schools, or at least not legally in this country. But it used to be, in Catholic schools, you hear the stories of the nuns whacking kids on their fingers with a switch or a ruler. To be disciplined meant that you had done something wrong and that you had to pay for it. And it included humiliation, it included often public humiliation, and some kind of punishment because you had not fulfilled something you were supposed to fulfill, whatever the covenant was. And so that word as a verb often in our history has been used with fire behind it and negativity, something that you wouldn't want to be disciplined. And yet, if you read the words of great thinkers and successful people, they always talk about discipline and about the importance of having self-discipline, that in order to get from point A to point B, you have to focus your energy and attention to get there. It doesn't work if you don't. If you say you're going to do something but you don't put in the effort, it doesn't get done. If you just dream about doing something but don't take the steps to manifest whatever you're dreaming about, it's just an idea. It's just a thought swirling about in your head, or even a thought that you utter. You could even utter it a lot. But if you just say it, but you're not putting the work behind it, it doesn't make any difference. So make discipline a daily priority is something I consider positive. And I guess when it becomes a punishment is when you don't do what you know is important for your life. If you don't do the work, then the time passes and the work builds up. And then it does feel like a burden for you to be able to cross whatever threshold is before you because you've got all this work you didn't do. So by making discipline a daily priority, doing the things that you know you need to do for yourself every day, there are small steps that can lead to whatever big goal you have. If you don't take the small steps, suddenly the small steps feel like huge steps. And they can seem insurmountable because you haven't done the work. And then, yes, you end up feeling the weight, the pressure of not having practiced discipline in your life and having the responsibilities that are before you seem so incredibly huge and overwhelming that you cannot figure out how to move past them, through them, over them, around them, under them. It's just like a big boulder in front of you. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? That is what we want to avoid. We don't want to be the students of our own lives who do the hardest thing last. Do you remember that in school? Did you ever do that? You had all this work to do, and the thing that was the hardest, you kept putting off, putting off, putting off. Did you ever do that? If you tell the truth, you probably did. I mean, at least once. Some people did it all the time and do it in life now all the time. And I want to say to you, that clearly is not the best thing to do. We know this. But then how do we react when there's, you know, a litany of things before us that have to get done? Do you choose the easy ones first? Oh, I can check that off fast. Check that off fast. There, I could do that one. But then that big thing that's sitting in front of you is just sitting there. I want to challenge you and challenge me. The big things that are on our list that we haven't been working on, let's put them at the top of the list. Tackle one big thing today. One. You don't have to tackle a lot of them, but one big thing that's on your list. And if it is so big that it seems insurmountable, what do I always tell you to do? Break it down into smaller parts. So you can put the one big thing at the top. That's the project, let's say. Call it a project. You have this one thing that you need to do. But the one thing is so big, break it down into manageable parts. What aspects of that big thing can you do as little things? Write it all down, break it down into manageable components, and then start chipping away by completing whatever the task is. Rather than feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this thing because it's too much. But I can do this part of the thing. And I can do this part of it. And you chip away and chip away and chip away. And if you keep track of what you're doing, you know I'm a big believer in writing things down. If you keep track of what you're doing, then you can gain some self-pride and energy because you're showing yourself that you care enough about you And whatever that task is before you, that you're going to keep working on it. And energy and self pride help to propel you forward so that you continue to work toward whatever the goal is. So, like for me this morning, when I really just wanted to stay in the bed, pull the covers over my head and sleep, take a day off, I didn't do that. I thought about you. I thought about engaging you to being, I thought about being together with the people who fellowship with me uh, in this covenant of Dreamleapers inspiration. So I want to get up so I can be with you. And so that motivated me. You have to figure out what is a source of motivation that will help you to push past whatever is sort of making you lethargic, that is making you avoid the responsibility before you. What is bigger than the boulder in front of you? What motivation can you draw upon to give you energy and drive to move forward when you don't want to? You have to think about that. What might that be? Think about what it is. In this case, for me, it was you, connecting with you, fulfilling my promise that I would do this. And I feel great about it. I feel great that I'm right here, right now with you. And you have to figure out what can make you feel great, what can give you energy, what can keep you motivated, or reignite your motivation if you're not motivated, so that you will do what is on your list to help move that boulder, to help dismantle the boulder. By making discipline a daily priority, the boulder can get smaller. It really works. Now, I've found some very good quotes, a few, so this time I have to share a few of them with you. Here's one that's perfect because, well, you'll hear. The temptation to take the easy road is always there. It is as easy as staying in bed in the morning and sleeping in. But discipline is paramount to ultimate success and victory for any leader and any team. That's by Jocko Willink. Willink. Let me read it again. The temptation to take the easy road is always there. Don't we know that? It is as easy as staying in bed in the morning and sleeping in, what I wanted to do today. But discipline is paramount to ultimate success and victory for any leader and any team. Think about that. The draw to pull the covers over my head was so good, it was so strong. But the draw to be with you was greater. So there was a little tug of war for a minute, and then I rose. What about you? What happens? What is that thing that draws you into cocoon state where you just don't want to do anything? Or you don't want to do whatever you're responsible for doing right now? What is that? Whatever that is, I want you to examine it, recognize it for what it is. Don't pretend it isn't there. Look at it. And then another thing to do is to look at, why do you have those thoughts and feelings? Why the desire to get in bed and pull the covers out? Because you might have to deal with that in order to get to the discipline of working on that boulder. In my case, I was tired. So what can I do? Tonight I could go to bed earlier. I know for me, a lot of times it is drink more water. Make sure I exercise because exercise gives me energy. Meditate. These are things that give me energy and help to revitalize my physical and spiritual being. Make sure I eat something really healthy that is going to help me to rejuvenate. So if I just decide, no, I'm not going to pull the covers over my head, I'm going to get out of bed and plod through it, that's not really helping. Sometimes you may feel that that's what you have to do, But it's even better if you really examine, how did I get in the state where I don't want to do what I'm responsible for doing? How did I get into the position where I would rather do just about anything else other than fulfill that responsibility, whatever it is? How did I get myself into that space? If you can figure out how you got there, then you can figure out how to get out of there. If you don't pay attention, then you just could end up torturing yourself. So I'll use my example because I'm sure other people have had it too. Long weekend, exhausted, emotionally, spiritually, physically exhausted. I've had exhaustion before and just said, oh, so whatever. I'm pushing through, I'm pushing through, I'm pushing through. I bet you have too. So if you have exhaustion and you don't take care of it, then you're just torturing you and your being because you're not honoring yourself. If you feel exhausted, you need rest. You need to rest your spirit. You need to rest your body. You need to nourish your body so that you rejuvenate yourself. If you just keep pushing and don't take care of yourself, you will get sick. It can be a physical sickness, a spiritual sickness, a mental sickness. You will get sick if you don't take care of yourself. So, the discipline that I'm talking about, making discipline a daily priority, is not torturing yourself. It's not denying yourself. It is tending to yourself, taking care of yourself, and determining what do you need to do in order to take care of your full being, and keep the discipline of honoring your responsibilities and those things that you need to do in order to move forward in your life. It is not denial, it is upliftment, it is acknowledgement of your whole self and what you need. All right, let me give you another one of these quotes because I found some good ones. All right, here's a simple one that's really good. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. The bridge between goals and accomplishment. And this is from Jim Rohn. The bridge between goals and accomplishment. You know, sometimes when I think about a bridge, I think about, like, I'll use myself. Me being on this side of the world and you being all the way on the other side of the world. And between us is a moat. And how can I welcome you to my world and bring you over to my world if there's water and there's no way to get over that moat? You need a bridge. And what can that bridge be? So when I'm teaching people media training, teach them how to talk about themselves, tell their stories to the public in order to draw attention to whatever they're working on, we often talk about welcoming people to my world, to your world. The bridge for doing that is often another person. It could be a media outlet, it could be word of mouth, but the bridge becomes it's the vehicle for connecting you to someone or something that you're trying to reach. So this is what Jim Rohn is talking about. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge that says, okay, you have goals, you have dreams, you have ideas that you want to manifest. They just stay goals, ideas, and dreams without effort. To accomplish those goals, ideas, and dreams, you have to do the work. Nobody's waving a magic wand and saying, okay, now it's done. That's a fantasy. But a lot of people believe in those fantasies. So the other one, look, here's it. I was so excited that I found a few. Here's the other one. There's no magic wand that can resolve our problems. The solution rests with our work and discipline. That's from Eduardo dos Santos. There is no magic wand that can resolve our problems. The solution rests with our work and discipline. Now, we can think about the cartoons that we love, the TV shows we love. Remember, Samantha would twitch her nose and Jeannie would go like this. I love those shows, but that was fantasy. There is no magic wand that's going to make these things happen. It's daily discipline on your part, on my part, daily discipline that makes our goals manifest, period. And I like to emphasize this because we live in a world right now where immediate gratification is more immediate than ever. Because we use social media, because we use smartphones like what I have in my hand, and we text someone and expect the person to respond immediately. We've collapsed our working hours so that people believe that they can work at any time of day or night because, oh, we need to. And I'm guilty of that. I try not to do it too much, but I find myself on a 24-hour clock of getting things done, doing things, getting things done. When I'm being very mindful, I tell myself, turn work off now. Now it's time to do whatever the other thing is. Because the discipline is not just about work. Discipline is about your whole life. So you have the work discipline, the time during which you complete your work, even if it's non-traditional hours, what typically are the hours that you do your work in? What typically are the hours that you tend to yourself, that you engage your family, your loved ones? If you break your day down into the different parts of your life that matter and make a list, you know how I am about lists. You make a list and include the things that are outside of work that are important to you. Then you can make sure you get them done. I've told you this before. I literally write drink water on my list. I write exercise on my list so that I make sure, especially on those days when I'm really busy, that I still do what is needed to take care of myself. Do you do that? I I have a list of people that I need to call because I get so busy sometimes that if I don't write things down, I don't do them. So who are the people I'm supposed to call? Not supposed to, that my heart tells me I want to call these people and be in touch with them. Who are those people? Write their names down on a weekly list. Make sure you contact these people. And then I check it off when I do it. And I feel energy then. I feel fulfillment when I have done something that I pledged to do. So when I say make discipline a daily practice, I do not just mean about your work. I mean about your life, your whole life. What is important to you? And what can you do and should you do to engage your whole life? If you're one of those people who just you drive yourself to fatigue doing your work and you rarely step off of that, then I'm going to say to you, now it's time to step off. Now it's time to make that list for the other aspects of your lives that are important. And make sure you pay attention to that too. You know, there many people have said when you come to the end of your life, there's nobody who says, oh, I wish I had worked a little bit more. I wish I'd stayed at the job a few more hours. I don't think so. Maybe there's somebody like that, but I don't think so. When people come to the end of their lives, they want the quality of life, engagement with others, and peace in their soul to be paramount. Of course, they also want the resources that they need in order to feel safe and protected and cared for. So maybe some people would say, I wish I'd worked a little more so I had more money. But it's having more money so that you can have that peace of mind. It's not usually just having more money. It's it has everything to do with how with your quality of life, how you want to live, how you want to be at each stage of your life. So I want to make sure that when we think about making discipline a daily practice, daily activity, every day that you practice discipline, it is for your entire being, for the fullness of you, not one part of you. And that's where those lists come in really handy. So I want you to do this. Here's an action point, very clear action point to do today. Make a list of things that you would like to and need to accomplish. But I want you to prioritize and well first, I want you to have buckets, have topics. It can be work, health, family, fun, finances, home, loved ones, and whatever else. And under any of those categories, you can break it down more. So for me, because I work on many projects, when I make this list, which I do every day, I break down the list on based on projects. So usually there are about 8 or 10 things under work. There may be 5 or 6 people under loved ones who maybe not in this one day, but in this one week, I want to contact. There are definitely things for my physical being and my spirit that are on that list every day. And I check them off, and this is what I want you to do. Make the list, break down the components under each category or topic, make them small enough that you can accomplish them. So, for example, if you're thinking about being in touch with your loved ones, if you put call everybody in my family, and you've got 20 family members you want to call, that's too much. That's overwhelming. Write down each name. If any people live together, put their names together on one line. And, or even if they don't live together because of technology, create group calls and put people's names together who you could call at the same time. It could be a video call or just a regular call, and patch people in and talk to them and check it off. But make your tasks, your duties into manageable size bullet points on your list so that you can do it. I promise you, if you do that and you accomplish some of these things, you will get energy and will help to propel you to do the next one. Whatever is the hardest to do, boldface it, put it in color. Keep looking at it until you do it. Don't look around it, don't close your eyes to it. I want you to do it. You will feel so much better if you do that. I promise. And by making discipline a daily practice, it becomes easier. It's like a muscle that you're flexing. I was working out with my trainer a couple days ago, and I was able to do an exercise for much longer than I had been able to do it, say, 2 or 3 months ago. And he commented and said, "Do you realize how long you held this plank?" And I remember being very shaky, like my limbs shaking, when when we added the plank into my hour-long routine a couple months ago. And now I look forward to it because I've gotten stronger. The discipline of doing it and holding it for a short period of time at first, and then longer and longer, gradually getting to a point where it takes a lot of effort, but I know I can do it. Discipline, daily discipline, helps you to cultivate the inner muscle. Sometimes it's physical muscle, but the inner muscle of continuity, of consistency. And it makes it such that Things that were very difficult before are easy now if you keep at it. Knowing that should give you energy too, that, okay, it doesn't always have to feel like work. If you cultivate the muscle of completing a particular task that you once thought was hard, but you've grown so accustomed to doing it day after day, it's no big deal. It's just something you do. And then you move on and add something to your list that you consider hard and keep at it every day. And that becomes something that you've mastered. It doesn't change that some of these tasks may not be fun or sexy, or, sometimes it's just a task that you have to fulfill. But if you do it with a positive attitude, this is something I need to fulfill for my life. And I'm grateful that I have the energy and the awareness and focus to get it done. And when it's done, then you have freedom. Like your energy can shift because you have completed something and created space to do something else. When you feel the weight of not having completed important tasks that are top of your list, that can be very, very difficult. You don't want that burden. You don't want to carry that burden around. So I want you to make your list today. When this broadcast is over, just sit down and write down what you know is important for you to complete today and this week. Take an hour if you need to. Take 10 minutes. Keep building on the list as the day goes by. But be sure that you check off the things that you have accomplished. That will give you energy. I did that. I completed that. Ah, it's wonderful. Let me move on to the next thing. When you make discipline a daily practice, things that were difficult become much easier to manage, to tackle, to complete. I promise that this is true, and I want you to work hard to make that true for yourself. So, you're making your list, you're checking it off. And one thing I'd like for you to add to your list, it's this weekend now, this Saturday, October 16th, from 1 to 4 p.m., I will be hosting the first Dreamleapers virtual retreat called What's Next. It's all about figuring out, where are we headed now? We've been in quarantine for almost 2 years. Many people are still being, I hope you're all being careful, but many people are still quarantined. Many people haven't gone back into the office. They're working remotely. The mindset of being insular is still there for many people. And the question, what's next for me? What am I supposed to be doing now? Should I be emerging out of this moment differently? What can I do differently? How should I have my mindset right now so that I can welcome what's next in my life? So I have more than a dozen speakers who will be sharing their wisdom, their insight, their knowledge. From motivational speaker Les Brown, who's going to tell us, you better stay hungry, y'all. If you stay hungry, you'll get it done. Dr. Janet Taylor, who's an amazing psychiatrist, is going to help us by letting us think about how we can get our mind right. Elaine Welteroth, a young woman who is one of the most dynamic people that I know, is going to talk about the art of the pivot. She's been pivoting in her career since she was a teenager, and still as a young woman is doing a lot of great things and being fearless, because fearlessness is part of that. Felicia Fant, who's an executive at Columbia Records, who has worked with many artists over the years, including Lil Nas X. She's going to talk about what you do to brand yourself so that you match who you say you are, so people understand what is the brand of you, and so many more. It's Saturday, October 16th from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern. It is free, thanks to my friends at Toyota and at Google and JCC Harlem. which is where I've held many of these events when before this virtual opportunity. So please sign up. You can go to dreamleapers.com, sign up so that you'll get the reminder, you'll get the link the day before. We'll send you the link for the event. Tell your friends. It is free, and I hope that you'll spend this time with me. You can go on dreamleapers.com and see who all the speakers are, and I believe the agenda is up now too. So until next time, hopefully Saturday, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.